kept pushing on, but then you went too. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you, joined with me by my partner in crime on the ones and twos over in the production truck, giving you all those beautiful camera angles. And that is Mr. Dave Regal. And Dave, I love me some California sun.
Absolutely. Auto Club Speedway is where we're at tonight in beautiful Fontana, California, here for a night race. And we're taking a look right now as qualifying is underway for the Way She Goes Racing League, our new proud partner here with SRM and ESBN. And I'm thrilled to be here. I think that this is going to be really exciting, as I've just seen Natalie Cunningham head for P2 here after her qualifying lap. And Robert Hissong from Michigan is in the number 29 Chevrolet, and now he has climbed atop that leaderboard.
And Rob had an amazing run last week at Daytona, so not a real surprise as Emily Urias, who did miss the first race, jumps up to second quick. So two very fast young ladies in the field tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. And the lone Toyota, the number 79 Nissan GTR, driven by G. Scott Thomas. Hey, more power to them. You know, the lone Nissan in the field. It's going to be fun to see how that one works out tonight.
That is paint scheming for pros right there.
Yes, it is. It just has to fix the taillights, but yeah, I looked at that. I'm like, is that a Nissan nose? Yes, it is.
In the words of Chris Collinsworth, now here's a guy who really knows how to use GIMP in trading paints.
True story. Very true story on that one. As about just after halfway past qualifying, about a minute left, still have a handful of drivers to yet lay down a time. Bobby Watts, Robert Devers, and Cohen Attard, all having to still come out on track, as Tony Edwards takes the Jegs 119 to outside pole position. As you remember correctly, back in Daytona, he was the pole sitter. So still a very fast Jegs Camaro tonight here at Auto Club.
And here at Auto Club, we do have some current conditions here for the Way She Goes Racing League, brought to you by LNC Automotive Repair in Dolgeville, New York. And, of course, our partner here with ESBN, the premier racing setup shops.com. Go there for all of your setup needs, whether you're looking for something to get your little edge there in the NIS series, or if you have a league where you'll be running fixed setups, check them out and see what they have to offer you. Tonight, air temperature is 78, track temperature is 78. And I don't expect to see anything really moving temperature-wise, as we are here at night, so everything should be pretty steady overall, as the field is now getting themselves gridded up and ready to rock and roll here. Let's take a look at that starting grid, where Robert Hissong sits atop the leaderboard in that number 29 Chevrolet, followed by Tony Edwards in P2 in the 118 Chevrolet. Inside of row 2 is Emily Urias in the number 6 Ford. Josh Douglas on her outside in the number 8 Chevrolet. Natalie Cunningham in the 18 Toyota starting in 5th. Kevin Mitchell in the number 12 Toyota in 6th. Kevin Kitzman in the number 93 Toyota. Brian Cloyd starting 8th. G. Scott Thomas, our Nissan fancy driver of the Ford there, who is, as I just said, is trading paints for pros. And also then rounding out the top 10 is the number 61 Ford of J. David Rich.
Clark Franz and Andrew Ozuski are going to roll off in row number 6. So Chevy and a Ford there. Then we got the 92 of Tony Trzynski and the 44 of Michael Cunningham making up row number 7. The 131 of Cohen Attard, the Nitro Circus entry out of Australia, going to be rolling off inside row number 8. He's going to be joined with Rob Devers in the 9. And starting shotgun on the field, Bobby Watts' Chevy Camaro, number 77. These kids are scheduled to go 100 laps here tonight, 75% fuel fill, 5 sets of tires to get it done. So I dare say that some of these guys are going to have a set left on the wall by the time this all is said and done here, because we've seen some great racing in the past, and should they go green, that's going to be real exciting to see how this one plays out. Good news is everybody has one fast repair in their pocket. As the field starts to roll behind the Ford Mustang GT pace car, Tony Edwards in the good wrench number 29, a Kevin Harvick throwback scheme, going to be leading them down to green. Emily Urias driving a mixture of Mark Martin and I believe that was one of the Bush brothers. Yeah, it was. Driving the Exide paint scheme there. So some pretty sharp-looking rides here tonight at the California Speedway here, or Auto Club Speedway here in beautiful Fontana, California, as the real world of NASCAR just finishing their race 2 days ago here at this speedway. As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
And as they cross the start-finish line, Robert Hissong getting himself settled here in front of Tony Edwards in that 118 Chevrolet. And Edwards working that outside line, which we've seen here earlier this week, does come in later in the race. But right now, Hissong takes a commanding lead with almost a half a second already in front of Tony Edwards and Emily Urias. And as we look here, we can see the 12 and the 6. The 6 working the inside of both the 12 and the 118, as she is going to hold on tight and see if she can't form that line there on the inside, as she now drops right behind the 118 of Tony Edwards.
Absolutely. As the Canadian crippler Kevin Mitchell was flirting with that outside wall coming off of 4, and he's got an angry pack of wolves behind him, as it's J. David Rich wrestling the spot away from Brian Cloyd. Cloyd now in a 3-way dance with Douglas and Cunningham. Cunningham wisely backing out of it as, Natalie heard her spotter say the most dreaded words in the iRacing server: 3 wide, you're the meat.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that you never want to hear as we see Natalie.
Lead.
That's something that you never want to hear as we see Natalie working that outside. A couple of sparks coming off the wall from that 12 car of Kevin Mitchell, as Natalie's going to cross here at the start-finish line for lap 3. And she is closely following Brian Cloyd in that number 21 Ford. Now she's working him over pretty tough here on the inside line, and it looks like she will easily secure that spot and wrestle it away from Cloyd, as she now puts J. David Rich in the crosshairs as she's passed pretty quickly on the inside by Josh Douglas. Douglas, like a rocket ship, gets himself all the way around in that number 8 Yeti Chevrolet.
And while all that was going on, Emily Urias in the Exide 6 was able to get by Tony Edwards in the 118 as she now tries to hunt down Robert Hissong, setting the quickest time of the event at that while she was doing it, 41.21 so far. That's the fastest lap we've seen all night.
And at 41.21, she's almost a tenth faster. So you do a little bit of math here, and it should take her, if she stays at a similar pace ahead time-wise of Robert Hissong, we should start to see her close in about those next 5 to 10 laps if she can maintain that pace. And to be completely honest, here in these next-gen cars, once you get yourself into, a good groove, these cars will start to handle pretty well and start to respond to just about every feeling that you have.
Absolutely. She's yet again another 10th quicker, but the fastest lap of the race goes to the aforementioned Canadian crippler, Kevin Mitchell, as Mitchell now works the inside of the 118 and wrestles third spot away from him, as that is a slugfest for third place.
The Canadian crippler out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, driving that number 12 Toyota across the start-finish line here on lap number 6. He is being chased down by Tony Edwards. Edwards, who is now just 0.2 of a second behind him, has him in the crosshairs. But I don't think we're going to see him pull the trigger anytime soon. And as we're looking further back in the field, this little knot of cars, including the 9 car of Robert Devers, the 18 of Natalie Cunningham.
Ooh.
Whoa, my goodness. We are 3 wide and 4, as this is my favorite pattern to watch here at a race where you've got almost a diamond with 2 cars in the middle side by side and 1 on the front and back, each of them just kind of protecting their own positions right there and being able to hold off those 2 cars working side by side. And here's the number.
Absolutely. No, I just said absolutely.
And these guys ticking off laps here slowly but surely, nice and steady with 7 laps complete now, as we're watching the number 15 car of Clark Franz making his attempt here to pass the number 21 of Brian Cloy, as he holds that inside line with his Wounded Warriors Project Chevrolet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we mentioned last week, seeing the 15 carry the Wounded Warrior Foundation on that Chevy Camaro. That's one of the good organizations that you can donate money to as far as helping our veterans who unfortunately are not the same way when they came home as they are when they left. So a great organization. They help members both with physical disabilities and members with PTSD. So great organization if you're looking to try to support our men and women who are coming home a little bit troubled.
Absolutely, and our hearts and thoughts and minds are all focused on the military, of course, who are always there protecting us and keeping us safe from those who wish to do us harm. And tonight, as we think about that, I do want to take a look here at Natalie Cunningham's paint scheme, which is, I'm assuming that this is intentional, that it looks a little bit of a Ukrainian flag theme here.
That is a Ukrainian flag.
Our thoughts are with the Ukrainians and the people who are being oppressed there in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I believe the side of that car says "We stand with Ukraine," and she's absolutely right. And you and I just touched on this last night, post race, that you done messed up when the entirety of the rest of the world is telling you you're out of bounds. And this is one of the first times in recorded history that everybody around the world, except for, you know, those people that are doing the nasties and, you know, not, huh? As Emily Urias wrestles the lead away from his song. First time tonight we've had a new leader since the drop of the green as they drag race down the back straightaway. But to make that point short, you know you done messed up when the entirety of the world is against you.
Absolutely. And not to change subjects too fast or anything, but I do want to take a look at Emily Urias as she passed Robert Hissong. And quite frankly, she is one skilled racer, as we're going to watch her just work the inside of Hissong. And it doesn't look that exciting all at once, but what she has worked herself on here is pretty impressive considering the lead that Hissong started with, as she is still trying to hold him off ever so gently as they are trading that first position back and forth. Urias working the inside, Hissong on the outside, and right now this is the toughest battle on the track, as these two are all alone up here, Emily and Robert, duking it out and exchanging blows.
Robert almost gets into the wall coming off of 4, but able to wrestle the lead back away from Urias. Taking a look back through the field, though, the 9 of Rob Devers has already climbed up 11 spots from where he started, sitting in the number 5 slot. So current biggest mover is that 9 Chevy Camaro.
Yeah, his pit crew must have been sitting there with those Cobalt tools getting everything tightened up before the race, and he is absolutely moving up through the field. Although Brian Cloyd now, who's up 3 spots in that number 21 Ford, works his inside. It seems like that inside line is where you're going to steal the position, but you don't have a whole lot of time to enjoy it, as you've got to get back up and then defend your position while the person that you just passed is now trying to work your inside. And folks, if you're just joining us, you are watching the Way She Goes Racing League on ESBN, broadcast live on YouTube and brought to you by the Premier Setup Shop, and that's premiersetups.com. And we are proud to be bringing you this race. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso from ESBN, and you are looking at some of the best racing that we've seen all week so far here at Auto Club Speedway. This is a new league. Overall, this is actually their second race in history. Last week we were at Daytona, of course, as they are going to mirror the NASCAR schedule for Cup Series, and there are no stages. They run 75% fuel and a 50% race, and they are competitive and they are highly skilled. As we can see, a wide range of people here, from, you know, young to older. I don't want to say old because I'm only 33, but some days I feel old.
I know that feeling.
Well, I try not to feel that feeling, but every day my knees remind me when they sound like bubble wrap when I get out of bed.
Hey, at least you could get out of bed this morning without help.
That's fair.
But that battle rages on for the lead between Urias and Hissong, as Mitchell starting to show his colors right now, as he pulls alongside Tony Edwards and is able to wrestle the 3 spot away from him, using what we call in the dirt circuit the slider line, where you kind of enter a little bit later, late apex, and then just cut the nose off who you're passing as you come out of the corner. And that seems to be the way these guys are going to have to make these passes tonight, is if you want to make an inside pass, you're going to have to run that slider line and just chop the nose off of who you're racing with.
And I do want to take a look here at something that just recently happened. Brian Cloy passing Robert Devers. Speaking of that slide line, we're going to watch here the number 21 working the outside in just a second. Here it comes. And we're going to watch the number 21 here working the outside as he is about to pass the 9 car of Robert Devers. And we see him suck right up to the rear end of that 9 Cobalt Chevrolet. and cross right at the start-finish line and slide himself all the way up and secure that spot away from him.
Absolutely. Right now, Natalie Cunningham in a slugfest, though, with G. Scott Thomas. So Toyota slugging it out with Nissan. They're just inside the top 10. That's the last two spots inside the top 10. Then they've got almost a 3-second gap back to Josh Douglas in the 8. But Cunningham has run that high line all night long so far, and she has yet to deviate from it.
Absolutely, and J.D. Rich just kind of rubbed the wall coming out of turn 2 a few moments ago before they went down the backstretch, as he is all over the rear bumper of Clark Franz in the number 15 Chevrolet. As this whole knot of cars here in the middle of the pack is not going to be put to bed easy tonight. And it looks like Kevin Kitzman is ready to get himself involved in that battle once he gets around Josh Douglas in that number 8 Yeti Chevrolet. And
we got a slugfest going on at the front of this thing, too, as Emily Urias has finally gotten the lead away from his song, and here comes Mitchell on the inside. Contact coming off the floor.
And that contact is there as he's trying to wedge his way up between his song and Emily Urias. And Emily not really fazed by it as she's up here logging laps and hitting every mark. And as she's going around here in her X-Side number 6, we can see that she's holding that line, but it looks like Kevin Mitchell isn't going to let her try to hold that for too long, as now they're side by side, Tony Edwards and Robert Hissong battling it out for 3rd and 4th, as we have a 4-way battle for the lead here on lap number 20 of 100. We should start to see guys maybe thinking about taking their tires as these guys and gals are ticking off laps left and right here at Auto Club Speedway.
Absolutely. It's his song, wrestles the lead back from Mitchell, using that second lane to her advantage. And that's the thing that we've seen with this latest aero and tire package. The second lane is able to defend very capably, which is why we were discussing earlier, you have to run that you have to have that dirt track mindset most of the time to make a pass stick. We saw Mitchell try it on his song and unfortunately just ran out of room, but he was trying exactly what we were talking about, that late apex and just up the track you go to try to get that lead away, as Mitchell now looks to the inside of Urias as they haul it off into turn number 1. Urias going to maintain that high lane and carry all that momentum down the back straightaway.
Well, and she's making that high line work for her tonight as she's holding steady. She knows what works best for this setup for her car, and she's not really trying to deviate from it, and I, quite frankly, don't blame her. If it works and it's not broke, don't fix it. She doesn't want to make a change here in her line and come off that mark, because right now nobody can seem to get around her as she's holding steady, as there are suitors trying to take that P1 from her, and she says, "Not so fast, my friend. This is mine, and I'm taking it for the night."
Absolutely. As we got a battle hot and heavy for 6th place going on between David Rich and G. Scott Thomas in the lone Nissan here tonight, as the Monster Energy Ford Mustang able to maintain right there with Brian Cloyd. So throw a blanket over 5th through 8th as they are just picking them up and laying them down. About 2.5 seconds off, or about 4 seconds off the lead, as there is definitely a gap starting to form at the front of this piece as his song has gotten around Mitchell again. Mitchell looks like he may have gotten into the wall, as Tony Edwards now shows the way. So it looks like Urias and Mitchell both having some issues.
Well, and I mean, I hate to say it this way, but it's kind of expected when you're racing and battling for that long. It looks like Emily has a little bit of a scar here on the left side of her car.
They got into each other coming off a 2.
There you have it, folks. The eagle eye in the sky. Tony catches that one pretty quick. And moving back through the field, we just want to make sure that we're covering what else is going on out here. Robert Devers running in 7th. Now Emily Urias back in 8th, as she is coming down pit road, as she will be the first car to come down and get a new set of shoes for that number 6 Ford. And that leaves Tony Tazinski in 13th place, Bobby Watson 14th, duking it out with Tazinski. And Cohen Attard is here in his number 131 Ford. And one person that we do want to make sure that we give a shout out to is the driver of the number 127, Matt. And he would have liked to have been at tonight's race, but unfortunately he is a volunteer firefighter. And Matthew Allen usually would be out on the 127 Ford, but he was dispatched to a structure fire. So we do want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers and pray for his safe return so he can be back on track next week.
Absolutely. And, hats off to all our volunteer first responders, be it an ambulance corps or a fire brigade. Those people, they're not getting paid. They're just doing it for the good of their community. And, hats off to the men and women that do that. As we do have a slugfest going on right now for 4th place between the 21 of Cloy, 61 of Rich, G. Scott Thomas, and Rob Devers, all right there in lockstep, trying to figure that one out, trying to make up some time on Kevin Mitchell, who sits in 3rd spot about 3 seconds up the road.
Absolutely. And this little knot of cars here, the number 21 leading the way, is being challenged while he's fighting off the 61, the 79 of G. Scott Thomas, working that inside line that we've seen work so well, but you almost have to be right on someone's rear bumper to make that pass work and then slide up in front of them on the exit of the turn. So we'll see if he can close that deal here as we move along at lap number 27 of 100. And again, we do want to acknowledge the bear with me here. We do want to acknowledge PremierRacingSetups.com, proud partner of ESBN. And if you're just tuning in on YouTube, you are watching the Way She Goes Racing League being broadcast live on ESBN. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso, and we're also brought to you by L&C Auto Repair up in Dolgeville, New York. Also the main sponsor brought to us, who was brought to the WGSR by Matthew Allen, who, as we just mentioned, is not on track tonight. But this race starting to heat up, Tony, as we have now clicked off almost 30 laps, and your race leader, Tony Edwards, in the 118 Chevrolet, leading the way. And last night we had a Pied Piper, and tonight it seems like we're kind of trading that piece off left and right. And this is exciting racing.
Hey, Dave, do me a favor. Let's go to a crank it up, because I need to speak with you off air.
10-4. And we are back. We thought that there were technical difficulties, but they weren't, at least for us. But it seems like Kevin Mitchell and Robert Hissong and Tony Edwards just had themselves a little dancing match here, here on lap number 33 now. Definitely a little bit of wall action going on.
Yeah, that's something you got to be real careful of with this new car, because unlike the live actual cars from the Gen 6s, this is an independent rear suspension, and it's real easy to mess up an A-arm by tagging the wall a little too hard, as Edwards looks like he's recovered quite well, as he's given Hissong a lot of pressure again, and the 12 of Mitchell is right there as well, as they are a second and a half up the road from the fourth place car, the 21 of Brian Cloy.
And green flag pit stops are underway also, as we can see here, the lower portion of the field, which was the first green flag pit stop that was made, was by Emily Urias on lap 24. Now Natalie Cunningham and Kevin Kitzman come in on lap 32. And now we see that Cohen Adhard and Robert Devers are also down pit road. So that leaves about 10 cars here who haven't come down yet at all. And I have to start thinking that eventually they're going to have to come down. These cars aren't refillable in motion.
Yeah, unfortunately they're not. And with 75% fuel fill, we're looking around 35 to 40 laps before they're going to be bingo on fuel. Urias, of course, came down to burn her fast repair. And while she was there, she's 4 tires and fuel. Why not? And here comes the 118.
And the 118 of Tony Edwards coming down pit road, as he is going to start getting set for his first pit stop. And I believe he will probably be, like something just happened with Cohen Adhard. Let's just take a look here if we can. Oh, I'll say. Hold on, fans. We're just getting this thing queued up for you so you can see the whole show right here with Cohen Adhard. As we're taking a look here, coming out of turn 1 and 2, as he just gets it around, and oh my goodness, he just took a wall right to the face. But fortunately,
there's our first. Thank God, this is a simulator moment of the night.
Absolutely, and fortunately, he's all right. The car is not all right, but I believe that he should still have his fast repair, which I have to believe he's going to burn almost immediately. As now it looks like Kevin Mitchell, J.D. Rich, Brian Cloy, Clark Franz, Josh Douglas, and Tony Tazinski have come down pit road, leaving only Robert Hissong and G. Scott Thomas atop the leader, and Bobby Watts atop the leaderboard, running first, second, and third, and they have not come down pit road yet. As I say that, though, Robert Hissong is coming down, and he will come get service, leaving, and now there were 2, Bobby Watts and G. Scott Thomas, getting ready. I have to believe at any moment going to be coming down here, as Bobby Watson, that number 77 Hooters Chevrolet, crosses the start-finish line to log lap number 38.
As we've got a slugfest. Oh, there it goes. How is that not a caution?
Let's take a look, as my partner saw it, and we'll check it out here. Robert Devers getting it wrong here. Keep an eye here on the number 9 car, folks, as we come back and show you this replay. As Devers, there on the low side in the middle, gets himself, I believe that's another cold tire incident. He does get the brakes locked up and just nudges the wall. So fortunately, not too bad a damage for him. He didn't hit anybody else, which is a miracle. But we do have our first caution of the night, possibly brought out by Devers.
Safe bet.
And we'll check that out too and see what's going on.
that caution thrown, and that's going to change things a little bit here, as when they did throw the caution, there were only 2 cars on the lead lap.
That's definitely going to change things here. And, of course, all this happening at lap 60 after these first green flag pit stops have come in. And my goodness, as I'm looking at the pit logs, there were only 2 cars left on the lead lap. They've got to be thankful because they didn't have to go down a lap or anything. And that'll make Tony Edwards one happy fella, as he is going to be the lucky dog coming back around. But I tend to imagine that once G. Scott Thomas and Bobby Watts come down, that most of this field is going to reset and get their wave around.
That's the safe bet. Edwards going to be getting the free pass this time as soon as he hits the start-finish line. And, that's going to give Urias, Rich, Cloyd, Franz, Cunningham, Douglas, and his song. That's going to get them back on the lead lap. But you could see just how big the undercut is, as, his song had a huge lead over Edwards. Edwards pit before his song did. Now, there's a ton of cars between them. His song's going to be restarting in 10th. Edwards is going to be restarting in 3rd.
And after all of that shuffles itself around, our race leader should be Emily Urias in her number 6 Ford. And she has been, that's... Maybe not.
No, it's still going to be G. Scott Thomas, as he was able to get out of pit road before the So that's going to give G. Scott Thomas the G. Scott Thomas is going to be leading him back to green. He's going to be joined there with Bobby Watts. As Tony Edwards is going to have to drop back to the tail end of the longest line. And then, that'll be Tony Edwards, Emily Urias, J. David Rich, Brian Cloyd, Clark Franz, Natalie Cunningham, Josh Douglas, Kevin Kuntzman, Tony Tzinski, Robert Hissong, and Kevin Mitchell all lined up stem to stern, single file, as they are going to have to get their wave arounds. And, that's going to be fun to watch.
And folks, if you are just tuning in, you are watching the Way She Goes Racing League on ESBN, brought to you on YouTube by our good friends over at Premier Racing Setups, and also sponsored by L&C Auto Repair. And we do want to take a quick moment here with PremierRacingSetups.com, as they do offer you quite the buffet, if you will, of racing setups. So if you race in NIS and you're just looking for something to get yourself by for NIS Open, or if you have a league like WGSR, or WSGR, I'm sorry, you can always use this if you've decided that you're going to go the way of a fixed setup league. But they have setups available for the 87 Cup car.
Something's not right here.
Next-gen car. What's going on?
Something is seriously not right here. This lineup is borked.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, as we're going back green, it looks like Bobby Watts is going to lead us to green with G. Scott Thomas, Tony Edwards, Emily Urias, and J. David Rich as your top 5. And the only cars on the lead lap, apparently, and now Brian Cloyd on the lead lap, as perhaps iRacing scoring can get themselves figured back out, as we are green flag racing again here at Auto Club Speedway.
Well, the thing that gets me is the 61 was in front of the 77. And trying to get this one sorted out, because that's nowhere near correct. And that's the beauty of sim racing, folks, is sometimes there's a glitch in the matrix.
Well, then this reset brought to you by the fine folks at casinos everywhere near you with a 5-deck shuffling shoe, as they're going to get things sorted out here. Michael Cunningham comes down pit road. Might
What?
as well get him. Michael Cunningham is coming down pit road.
No, before that. A 5 shuffling shoe? What?
5-shoe shuffler. That's how they shuffle cards in a casino. You
I don't even want to. I don't even want to ask where that came from, sir.
Casino thing. I'm not really sure where else to bring that from.
Good movie. Liked the book better.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's so a 5-deck shuffler is. They take this thing. If you've ever been to a casino.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just wondering where that came from.
It's the first thing I thought of when I was thinking of shuffling.
Okay, then.
Yeah. I just kind of have thoughts bounce around in my head, and they come spewing out of my mouth and into the microphone.
Okay. Fair enough, but I do want to thank everybody that's tuning into this. This is the second race of the season for the Way She Goes Racing League. We've got a few watchers going on in the live chat. I do want to thank Clark Franz for joining in with us. Scott Franz watching. Real Blaze, thank you for tuning in. Giving love to the 12 car of Kevin Mitchell. And Lizette Monet, thank you for joining us as well. If you guys haven't done so already, please hit that like button. It really helps share this league's broadcast with the iRace or with the YouTube masses. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, because we have racing every night of the week. A lot of times double and triple headers. Tonight there is a second race going on our sister broadcast. So if you want to tune into that one, it's the Ghost 300 from Charlotte, brought to you by Fort Worth Printing. Tomorrow night, the only race in town will be the USRA TNT Truck Series, brought to you by DickleZombie.com. That is round 5 at the Milwaukee Mile. You're not going to want to miss that one. And then doubleheader on Friday. Yes, doubleheader on Friday. And then a quadruple header on Sunday with the iRacing Formula Series, or iFormula Series, at 3:30 Eastern, followed by the ISNF Cup Series at 5:30 Eastern, the Fired Up Racing Series at 7:25 Eastern, and then Sunday Night NASCAR at 8:30 Eastern. So a lot of racing left to go here in the week on ESBN, as we are under another caution, as they're still trying to get all the wave arounds figured out, as they're manually waving people around right now. And we are going to stay under caution until they get that one completely sorted out, as I have no idea where Tony Edwards ended up. Oh, he's up there. Okay. So Tony Edwards is going to be leading them back to green this time, as he was able to get by Bobby Watts before that caution came out. But how about the drive out of that Hooters number 77? Up 15 spots from where he started, played pit strategy to perfection before the caution flew, and hats off to race control for getting this one figured out in a timely manner.
Absolutely, and it looks like there may have been an issue here with Kevin Kitzman. I'm going to take a quick look at it here for the folks at home, as iRacing tells me that he had a slight issue, so we're just going to see if he pulls down pit road. It actually looks like he is coming off the track. And we'll have to take a look and see what's going on. That may be him doing some admin things, getting himself all squared away here in that number 93 WSGR and LNC Auto Repair Toyota.
I'm not sure why I was going to say the yellow flag comes immediately back out, as half the field was over 30 seconds back from the lead pack.
Well, chances are Kitzman was back there taking care of things. He is an admin here.
He and Natalie Cunningham have been doing yeoman's work here tonight.
Yeah, and they are quite a team, as we can see the two of them, one in front of the other, getting things organized. And I have to say, after talking to a lot of the folks here in the league, the guys and gals here logging laps tonight, they are so organized. They really have their act together here. And, Kevin Kitzman and Natalie Cunningham working very well together, getting this all put together. So we want to thank them for organizing this race tonight. And looking ahead to the rest of the Sim Racing Media ESBN schedule, Friday we have the Kool-Aid Monster Next Gen Cup Series at 9:30, followed also with another race at 8:30. Then IFL
Circle
on
B
Sunday.
diecast.
There we go. Circle B diecast. It disappeared from my screen. Then Sunday at 3:30 p.m. The IFL series. Then ISNF at 5:30. The Fuel League races at 7:30, and your nightcap on Sunday, starting at 8:30 p.m., is the SNN Cup Series. So
And
all kinds
that'll be
of
yourself and Rhea Ferris in the booth for that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. Well, actually, no, it's not myself and Rhea Ferris. It should be James Riles.
Yes.
James Riles and Rhea Ferris in the booth, and yours truly in a car, strapped in, holding on for dear life.
Yeah, you looked like a drunk on the highway last time I saw you run.
I mean, to be fair, that race was brought to me by the fine folks at the Yuengling Brewery, America's oldest brewery.
There you go.
But don't worry, folks. Tonight, I'm sober as a judge. As we're taking a look here.
Hey, this is vodka, man.
Absolutely. So, just as we're getting reset here, I want to go over this top 10, top 11 here with Tony Edwards going to be leading the field when we go back green, followed by Bobby Watts, J. David Rich, and Emily Arias, your top 4. G. Scott Thomas in 5th. Brian Cloyd in the number 21 Ford in 6th. Clark Franz in 7th in the number 15 Chevrolet. Natalie Cunningham, one of your commissioners here in the WSGR League, and she's driving the number 18 Toyota, followed by Josh Douglas, Kevin Mitchell, Robert Hissong, Tony Tazinski, and Kevin Kitzman, all of your lead lap cars, as we are trying to get reset here on lap number 49. Everybody looking for the pace car. Right now, it seems like the pace car is playing hide and seek.
Well, the thing is, they've got to get these cars tightened up a little bit, as they finally do. I don't think anybody realizes we're supposed to be double file, not single file, as Bobby Watts finally gets into position there. He's going to have to tighten up a little bit, though. All right, then. They're going to have to extend this caution because they just got the last waiver on car past the pace car as they haul it off into turn number 3. So expect somebody to try to cold trickle the field here.
Yeah, definitely not a lot of time left, as those pace car lights still are not back on, so I believe we should be going green flag racing here with Tony Tazinski now in P1, being scored in P1, but Tony Edwards
What?
here on the inside. It's all right. It's just a scoring thing where the scoring lines were. As
No,
Tony Edwards is going to bring us
he's-
back green.
What the
Heck.
Thank you. Oh, God.
Folks, my partner and I are always, and we are.
I have no idea what's going on anymore,
I see what they're
folks.
doing. They're shuffling. They're shuffling the Hooters car back. To do it by hand.
No, he was doing it himself.
Well, he was doing it the right way. So anyway, we're back green flag racing here at Auto Club Speedway and the Way She Goes Racing League with... This is very backwards.
Kitzman should be the leader.
Kitzman is now P2 with Tony Tazinski, the leader.
Okay, it should be... I'm sorry. Edwards is the one who should be
Edwards
leading
the
this
leader.
thing. I don't know why Kitzman got waved around or Tazinski, because they're throwing another yellow. We're just past the halfway mark, and this segment of the race brought to you by Excedrin for all your headache relief.
Well, one of the things here, and just to remind you guys watching at home on YouTube, watching us here on ESBN, this is a new league, so please be patient as everybody gets themselves settled in here. And nobody means any harm. It's just part of getting everything moving, maybe a shot of WD-40 to the old brain wheels as they move around and figure out how to sort things out.
Now, my hamster died about a year and a half ago.
So listen, when it comes to hamsters, you know they hibernate. Like if you put them outside sometime and bring them back in, they kind of wake back up.
No, man, this
It's
one
like a
was...
reset.
No, this one was fertilizer.
When I was about 4.
Snowblowers have that effect on hamsters.
Oh, that's terrible. Yep, that'll do it. When I was about 4, I had a hamster. His name was Zippity. And Zippity, we thought, died. He was in our sunroom in his little habit trail. So we thought he died. My dad took him out to the trash can like a good dad does. And like a couple of days later, we had some warm weather, and my dad went to take the trash out, and sitting there on top of the bag in the trash can was Zippity sniffing around because basically he had gone into hibernation mode, and we thought he was dead. Turned out he was alive and well, and I don't remember how long he lasted after that, but hamsters can be resurrected.
Oh, that's good to know.
To be
Now, the
4 years
question is,
old
are they
is
going to
good.
hand out EOLs to the 92 and 93? That's
That'll
the
sort
big
the field.
question right now.
That'll sort the field.
That would make things right if they did that. We're still waiting to see what's going on here. But, yeah, I will be right back.
Well, folks, if you're just tuning in, we are on lap number 54 of 100 in the second race here of the very first inaugural season of the Way She Goes Racing League at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. You're watching us on ESBN, broadcast live on YouTube, and we are brought to you proudly by L&C Auto Repair and PremierRacingSetups.com. And for those of you who do sim racing yourselves and you're just seeing what other leagues are available, the PremierRacingSetups.com group is incredible. They offer all kinds of setup guides and Motec training, along with requests if you have something special that you'd like to set up, maybe a fundraising race with a fixed setup. They also have coaching, and, of course, they also have a whole stable of builders that are working on these setups continually, and they're incredible. They do so much work, and they have nothing but an amazing group over there with Sam Michaels and Art Hector Jr., Robbie Kennelly, and they're always here for you anytime you need a setup. We are pacing on lap 55 to bring you up to speed. There was a caution, the first of a series of about 3 cautions here, and they've had some trouble getting reshuffled. And Tony, I believe you were just talking to the league, and what's going on over there?
Well, they're trying to get everything sorted out right now. So what's going to happen is they are giving an EOL penalty to the 92 and the 93, leaving them on the lead lap, but putting towards the tail end because they never should have gotten that last wave around that each one got. And it looks like they just extended the caution by a lap. Tony Edwards is going to be leading us back to green. Emily Uria is going to be starting outside row number 1. So it looks like we've got the lineup figured out finally. As a couple of guys just went down pit road, saying that pit road was open, but it actually closed when they got to it. So they're going to have to clear some black flags when that happens. Lights should be going out on the pace car this time by.
And we're taking a look at the Ford Mustang pace car from iRacing.com. The iRacing servers, and there go those lights, the iRacing servers are always busy with all kinds of races, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And what a community. The community of iRacing is awesome. I mean, it's worldwide. There's people from every walk of life, and it's so cool to meet so many different people. I mean, here I am right outside of Philadelphia, and you, Tony, are up in New York. And, I mean, you can meet some really awesome people. And I'm throwing you into the really awesome people bin there.
Thank you.
If nobody else tells you today, I will.
Well, thank you, sir. I kind of needed that after the day I've had. But, yeah, no, Dave's absolutely right. I mean, you got people from all walks of life. You got CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. You have real-world professional drivers in the sim. You have young kids that are using this to help train them for a possible career in racing. Go-kart drivers, quarter midget drivers that are just using this to gain racing experience. And you have, guys that work on race cars. You have housewives that, this is their breakup of their day. So, I mean, you meet all sorts of people, from all walks of life, all creeds, colors, races, generations, and, like Dave said, iRacing is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Chances are you can find a race going on somewhere in the servers. And we got a real race going on right now at the front of this piece. Is Urias on that high line, taking it to the 118 of Edwards, and she's got the 21 of Cloy in tow.
And Cloy chasing Emily down as best as he can, and she is not giving up that high line. And I was mentioning earlier during our last green flag run here that Emily is comfortable up there in that high side, and she's not going to give that up. She's got the ability right now to block whoever she needs to hold them off, and quite frankly, she's got just under half the race to go to hold off the 61 of J.D. Rich and the 21 of Brian Cloyd, as they are both side by side back here jostling for position here at Auto Club Speedway. As
the 12 of Mitchell just caught the wall coming off at 2. That kind of jumbled things up a little bit back there.
Just a smidge. And I got to be honest, as I'm looking here, there's 8 cars all side by side, one in front of the other, and they are holding their lines. They've given each other enough space here. Incidents tonight, honestly, are not a problem. Of course, there's the jinx. Every night I do that. Send your hate mail. Go ahead. Give them the address, Tony.
You can get your hate mail coming now. That
My
is
just filled.
Mr. Dave Regal, care of ESBN.
61 goes down on the apron. There it is.
Yikes.
He is going to get sideways, but lock him up, and we should stay green.
Yep. He didn't hit anything. That's the good part.
No, he spun down there kind of harmlessly. and gets himself back on track as he will try to get back with the pace. But Emily Urias and Brian Cloyd now, then there were two battling it out for the lead as Emily is holding him off the best that she can. And the 21 of Brian Cloyd doing everything he can to try to get in front of her.
Well, she has about 10 lap newer tires. So, whoa, hang on to her, son. Cloyd gets real sideways coming off of two. And that's going to let Urias get the clear, as now here comes Robert Hissong on Cloyd with a head of steam. Cloyd's got to now play defense instead of offense.
And we see that number 21 as he's trying to get himself back up to speed and back settled into where he was running, as Robert Hissong and the number 29 Chevrolet is chasing him down as we cross the start-finish line at lap number 61. And they are both being followed by our former race leader, Tony Edwards, in the 118 Chevrolet. And these guys are not done yet.
3 wide.
They 3 wide, and they will not be put to bed easy as the 61 is resting there in the middle, not giving up his position. Correction, that is the 12 car of Kevin Mitchell. I'm sorry. Now working the inside of the 118 of Tony Edwards.
Correct color palette, wrong sponsor. But, yeah, Mitchell taking it to Edwards right now as Cloyd and Hissong start to pull a gap on that battle. And you got to think that those guys running side by side, it's really hindering them as Urias just continues to stretch that lead out up at the front of this piece. And now Cloyd and Hissong starting to reel her in.
And Emily opening herself up with a 1.3739, almost a 1.4 second lead over Brian Cloyd, who's back here duking it out, exchanging blows with the number 29 of Robert Hissong. There's only a 1/10 of a second separating them. And then as we look a little bit further back in the field, Josh Douglas in the middle of this mess here as he's working the inside line in that number 8 Yeti Chevrolet, holding off Natalie Cunningham, who is not going to be taking it easy here as she's driving forward and getting up to his rear bumper here, going down the backstretch and into turn 3. Cunningham in that 18 blue and gold Ukrainian-themed car, holding the high line. That definitely seems to be the line with speed. And the inside line is definitely... Whoa, boy.
Mitchell just got into the wall coming off of 4. That's going to cost him a couple of spots as Cunningham and Douglas both get by him. Douglas now gets clear of Natalie Cunningham as now Mitchell trying to rebound as the battle is now behind between Mitchell and Devers.
And Cunningham holding Mitchell off the best that she can. And Mitchell looking to the inside to make the pass around Natalie Cunningham in the 18 Toyota. And Mitchell is going to get right up here and see if he can get a run. I think it's going to take about another turn for him to secure that spot safely, as the 9 car is kind of pinned there, boxed in right now. Mitchell can almost use him as a pick and leave him there if he so chooses.
Well, right now, Cunningham is using the draft from Devers to help get by Mitchell, as that second lane paying its dividends already, as we're working lap 65 of 100. Everybody should have to come down for one more fuel stop at least, as Emily Urias has stretched her lead out to a second and a half over second place Brian Cloyd. Cloyd has Hissong all over him right now, though, as they are slugging it out for second and third. And then you've got just over a second gap back to Tony Edwards in the 119, sitting in fourth, who's got a second to the good over the 8 of Josh Douglas. And then you are about a quarter of a second back to this battle for 6 between Cunningham, Devers, Mitchell, and G. Scott Thomas.
And I'm taking a look here behind Kevin Mitchell, looking to his low side. the 79 of G. Scott Thomas. That car all kinds of scarred up, but he is not giving up easily here as we ride along behind Kevin Mitchell, looking forward at Robert Devers in that number 9 Cobalt Chevrolet. And, of course, in front of him is Natalie Cunningham, and she has herself something nice and comfortable around with a little bit of space in between her, about 6/10 of a second behind her and about half a second in front of her. So right now, that's probably the nice, comfortable spot to be at here on lap number 67 at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, especially knowing that everybody's going to have to come down pit road at least one more time. She's got a lot of comfort knowing that she can get onto pit road and off of pit road without a lot of trouble. As the 21 of Cloy catches the wall in the middle of 1 and 2, that's going to let Hissong get ever closer to him. Coming off of 2, Hissong with a head of steam and about 2 mile an hour advantage.
And just taking a look here at the 8 car, he had gotten himself up uncomfortably close to that wall there and gets himself recollected here as he just kind of had a little bit of a bobble, but gets himself recovered as he is still chasing down Natalie Cunningham in the number 18 Toyota. Folks, if you're just joining us, you're watching ESBN on YouTube. Please subscribe to ESBN. We have racing action every night of the week, several times a day sometimes. And turn on those bell notifications, especially here for the Way She Goes Racing League, which is a tip of the cap to the Trailer Park Boys. But anyway, turn on those bell notifications so you can get a reminder every time we're live on the air. And I know it's fun hanging out with Tony, and I hope that you're having fun with the two of us as the 21 of Brian Cloy buys a little piece of wall and scratches up the side here. He loses a little bit of momentum and allows Hissong to get a run on the inside of him, and Hissong now is going to make that push in P2 as he's now going to chase down Emily Urias. Urias with about 3/10 of a second lead now, which is about a half a second closer now between her and second position, Robert Hissong. And we are now about to have about a 3-way battle for the lead once Hissong and Cloy get themselves caught up here to Urias.
Bear with me here. Just trying to score us a possible another broadcast. As Raymond Daniels Sr. asking if we have any openings. Well, if you take a look at the page that we are on, we have officially changed from the eSports Broadcasting Network to the eSports Broadcasting Network Sim Racing Media LLC, as Sim Racing Media purchased the eSports Broadcasting Network back in October. We have now reached LLC status, and all of our future broadcasts will have to go through the Sim Racing Media Facebook page if you want to DM them for more info.
Absolutely. We are always more than happy to bring some more people into the fold here, especially, leagues that need to get themselves off the ground like the WSGR. And I gotta be honest, watching this race, with the exception of that little hiccup there earlier with getting the field reshuffled, the Way She Goes Racing League has been impressive from stem to stern all night long, with not a slouch in the bunch, as we're watching Robert Hissong now closing in on Emily Urias. Emily doing the very best that she can to hold him off. And I think at some point here, she last pitted on lap 44. We're now closing in on 73. I would say we try to squeeze out the rest of the fuel that we can, and then she comes down, gets herself four tires and a full tank of fuel, and goes to the end with no problem whatsoever.
Now the question is, who in this top four that have a 4.5 second gap back to G. Scott Thomas in fifth, who's going to be the first one to blank? Bring it down pit road, get those fresh tires, get the undercut, and hopefully come out of here with the lead once everything shakes out. You got to think that Hissong, Edwards, and Cloy right now are all in the catbird seat. Is, if Urias goes, they can go with her. But if they decide to go instead of her, she's kind of hung out to dry.
And as I look through the field here, there is not a single section here on the racetrack. There's almost not a single car on the racetrack that's all by their lonesome out here. There is side-by-side racing all the way from first back to 10th and 11th here between the 92 and the 77. The 77 driven by Bobby Watson, the 92 of Tony Tazinski. There, from those top 11 spots, there is nothing but side-by-side racing. Every car that we can look at is in traffic of some persuasion. This is what racing is all about.
Absolutely is. Cunningham and Rich, two of our lap cars, bringing them down pit side to get their final pit stop out of the way on lap 7. Well, the leaders are on lap 75 anyways. But the question still remains, who's going to blink first in this top 4? Because that's essentially going to be the race for the lead. And the biggest thing is, when they go, are they going to have a clean stop? You got to be spot on as far as pit road speed. You got to be spot on hitting your marks in your pit box. You can't slide through it. And who can get off of pit road cleanly and get back up to speed? As his song throws to the inside of Urias down the back straightaway, drag race into turn number 3.
And we're taking a look here at Josh Douglas in the number 8 Chevrolet, sponsored by Yeti. And we just want to start moving through the field as Robert Hissong has wrestled away the lead from Emily Urias. And she won't be put to bed easily. She is going to stay right on his bumper. She wants that position back as she swings down here through the tri-oval into turn 1 as they dive down and get ready to make the move. And she's going to have enough momentum to, blow his doors right on off as she re-secures in a little do-si-do action from Robert Hissong as he says, no, I wanted that. That was mine first. And now Emily Urias has seen that door being open, so she knows exactly how to get that position back. As she
threw the slider line going through too, but had to check up because she almost got into the wall because she was trying to carry so much speed off with a really weird entry angle.
And as we're
drop her back to 3rd.
Moving back here through the field, we look at 4th position, Brian Cloy to the number 21 Ford, G. Scott Thomas running in 5th, Kevin Mitchell in 6th, Josh Douglas in 7th, Tony Tazinski in 8th, Bobby Watts in 9th, and due to a pit change here for Robert Devers, Clark Franz in the number 15 Chevrolet, all by his lonesome here in that number 15 Wounded Warriors Project Chevrolet, rounding out your top 10. Your race leader, of course, is Robert Hissong, who just got done wrestling the lead away from Emily Urias, and he now has Tony Edwards between himself and Emily. And Emily now looking to the inside of Edwards to see if she can get P2 back before they come down pit road.
Absolutely. Is Devers and Trzynski in pit road right now, as it looks like we are seeing the money stops start to happen. And, again, you got to wonder, who's going to be the first to blink in this top 4 group. Is now his song is, he's kind of, Urias is going to be the first to peel off, and his song goes with her. Unsafe pit entry for the 6.
Yeah, that's going to cost her a lot of time, and perhaps the checkered flag here is now
there's a caution.
Oh my, that's going to bring out the caution for sure. Here with 21 laps to go.
Good news is she still has her fast repair in her pocket. Bad news is his song, because he was on pit road, is going to be able to, basically get a free pit stop here. And when everything shakes out, the 29 should be leading us back to green, being as Edwards, Cloyd, Mitchell, Urias, Watts, and Franz all have to pit. Josh Douglas was on
And just trying to pull up this incident here where Urias, it looked like she had just kind of gotten herself a little sideways here coming into pit road. We'll take a quick look just to get an idea of exactly how we wound up here with this caution. As it sounds like she was running out of fuel, and at the same time, the stress of running out of fuel and dealing with trying to get onto pit road, she just lost a little bit of concentration, and into the grass she goes.
Well, I think it changed her angle of attack when his song peeled off when he did.
Well, and when that engine starts cutting in and out like that, it's messing with how tight or loose your car is coming off the track.
Yes, it absolutely does. So expect to see wholesale pit stops here. Edwards in, Cloyd in. Mitchell should be coming in the 12. There he goes. So yeah, wholesale pit stops for everybody that hasn't already gone down pit road. I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm taking a look back here for Olszewski.
Close to him.
Olszewski in that number 11 Amazon Toyota coming around. And we see him, like you just said, Tony, to your point, there he is coming down, and he realized a little bit too late that, woof, that could have been ugly, real ugly. Thankfully, he got out and back out to the track.
Yeah, absolutely. But they did cost the cars behind him some position as looks like Franz Mitchell and Watts all able to get out in front of the 6. There goes Brian Cloyd in the 21. So the 6 and the 21 held up by that lap car of Olszewski trying to get back up on track.
Now something interesting has now developed here as Natalie Cunningham came in on lap 75, and she now sits, she's going to be on the outside of row 2, or row 1. They're starting in P2 outside of Tony Edwards, so this young lady is going to have herself one heck of a fight on her hands as she is going to try to take this lead away from Tony Edwards. And our former leader, Emily Urias, back in 8th position after her little dust up here, getting herself settled in for this restart. And we should have about 17 laps to go when we go back green.
Absolutely. Well, we know Urias has the short run speed. We know for a fact that, and I'm not sure why Natalie Cunningham is dropping back, but we know that the 18 has a lot of long run speed. And it looks like Urias is going to be restarting in 4th.
Absolutely. And now after everything's been reshuffled, it looks like Clark Franz is going to be starting off on the outside of Tony Edwards. Tony Edwards in P1 here. Of course, Clark Franz had come in on lap 81. Kevin Mitchell in 3rd. Emily Urias in 4th. Bobby Watts shuffling himself up, currently being scored in 3rd. Natalie Cunningham in 6th. Robert Devers in 7th. J.D. Rich in 8th. Brian Cloyd 9th. Kevin Kitzman in the number 93 Toyota rounding out that top 10. Kitzman, of course, the commissioner of the Way She Goes Racing League, co-commissioner alongside Natalie Cunningham. And they have put on one heck of a race here tonight on ESBN. Broadcast live on YouTube. Subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you can be alerted every time we are live. And we are brought to you by the Premier Setup Shop. That's premierracingsetups.com. And they have quite a choice of everything you need. They even have a whole lot of stuff for dirt oval. They've got an entire menu just for road courses, the Dallara F3, the BMW M4, the Hyundai Elantra, as well as, of course, the traditional oval setups where it's SK Modifieds, NASCAR Xfinity Series, the Next Gens, 87 Cup cars. They are nothing but choices for you, and we invite you to go over to PremierRacingSetups.com, subscribe to them, and get yourself a setup. In fact, I'm just peeking here at their Next Gen setups, and it looks like they've got a sale right now for the whole season for $280, or you can get an individual race setup for Las Vegas for $12 over on PremierRacingSetups.com.
I'm not sure what's going on right now.
So the pace car dives down onto pit road with Emily Urias on the front row inside of Tony Edwards as we are going back green flag racing with 17 to go at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Tony Edwards jumps out to a slight lead here over Urias with about 0.2 of a second. And behind Urias is the 21 Ford of Brian Cloy, getting himself onto that high line. Nobody really wants to be on the inside. That's definitely not your speed line. That's more of a pass line. As we see the 61 of J. David Rich get a little loose here, as that was definitely cold tires on warm asphalt kind of messing with him.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, the asphalt isn't really that warm. It's only 78-degree track temperature right now. But we've got a 5-car tango at the front of this piece. Edwards showing the way, Urias, Cloyd, Rich, Devers, and we're back under caution.
And
Tony
this caution
Trzynski
looks like something happened with Tony Trzynski and perhaps even Natalie Cunningham. And we are going to take a look here. And we're looking here at the 92 of Tony Trzynski on the inside of Natalie Cunningham in that blue and gold 18 Toyota Camry. And Natalie on the high side, plenty of room between her and Trzynski, and she just gets down and spins him like a top into the wall. And, whew, I hope he had his Hans device on because that was enough to spin your head around. As we are back under caution at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso on ESBN, and we are proud to be bringing you the second race of the inaugural season of the Way She Goes Racing League, based out of Denver, Colorado. This group of drivers tonight has kept their cool, and especially amid a little bit of computer issues there in the middle. It was a glitch, according to Kevin Kitzman, who I had just checked in with a little bit ago. And frankly, these guys have put together an amazing race. These guys and gals have practiced. They made sure to get their laps in. And I'll tell you what, this young lady, Emily Urias, has the field right under her thumb.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here as she flashed by the pace car. She's going to be restarting in second. Unfortunately, Natalie Cunningham has decided to put it on the hauler after that incident that we just saw between her and the 92 Trzynski. As Trzynski on pit road trying to get some damage fixed. He's running out of time, though. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get that car fixed and back out on track. But
we're guessing that there's some kind of a glitch in the iRacing software, as it's apparently issuing black flags somewhat randomly as they are working feverishly, which I would assume is why Natalie Cunningham decided to put this car in a hauler, as she, of course, is co-commissioner here of the Way She Goes Racing League.
Yeah, for some
and
reason
they
it
are
gave
sorting
Clark
all of this
Franz.
out.
It gave Clark Franz the black flag. It gave it 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 gave Tony Edwards a black flag.
Definitely a software glitch, folks, with 13 laps to go, and this is almost the worst time in any race to suddenly have software kind of glitch.
Well,
But
we are closing in very quickly on week 13, which anybody that's ever been in the iRacing servers knows that you really don't want to be running a league race on week 13, which I believe is next week.
absolutely, Tony. Week 13 is next week, so we should see a lot of public races that are terrifying for anybody that thinks that they're going to work on their safety rating next week.
Oh, that
Silly
means
send it and so on and so forth.
that means we're going to be playing bottom split bingo at least once next week.
No, that means I'm going to be watching TV and trying not to damage my safety rating any further.
Oh no! What we do is we go in and spectate the bottom split of rookie street stocks, and we have bingo cards.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, if somebody yeets the field going into turn one, that's a space. Two drivers get into a cussing match, that's a space. One driver wads it, that's a space. Somebody says, "I'm just here from safety rating," that's a space. If you hear the phrase "do it for Dale," that's
another space.
That's another space.
See, now I'm on board. You have my attention, sir.
And you can also play it as a drinking game.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really... So here's something interesting. iRacing is so accurate as far as, the way that the car feels through force feedback and, butt kickers and so on and so forth. When you've got triple monitors, drinking and operating even a virtual car, not recommended whatsoever.
Oh, no. I'm not saying from behind the wheel. If you mark a space on your bingo card, you take a shot.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's fair. I can get along with that.
Yeah, and there's 25 spaces on the card.
And as we see here, Tony Edwards on the inside.
Can you say alcohol poisoning?
Just
I knew that you could.
That's my partner, keeping it exciting. As we're getting in here, we're going to be going back green with 10 laps to go. As Tony Edwards is going to lead the field when we go back green with Emily Urias on the outside, J. David Rich in third, Brian Cloy in fourth, Robert Hissong, Robert Devers, G. Scott Thomas, Bobby Watts, and Kevin Mitchell rounding out your top 10. And I got to say, Emily Urias starting on that outside line, that's where she's been comfortable all night as she's cleaning off a little bit of debris and getting those tires cleaned up. She's been running that outside line all night and has been absolutely dominant out there. So I'm guessing that we're going to see her take off pretty solidly here with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where the aggression is going to get ramped up. Everybody knows you've only got 10 laps to get it done. We have 12 cars on the lead lap. Sorry, 10 cars on the lead lap. Yeah, I can math. That's 11. With Clark Franz's 15 being the last car scored as such. Mike Cunningham back out on track after having some issues. Olszewski back out on track a few laps down in the number 11. Can still make up a couple of positions, though, as the field worked its way through the 3-4 complex for what we hope is the final time, the final restart of this race. Edwards in the 118 going to have the button as the pace car peels on off. They hit the restart zone. Edwards holds them down. Green flag in the air, and we are back underway as the inside line stacks up ever so slightly. Cloyd has to bail out. Edwards, though, gets up in front of Urias as they haul it off into turn number 1.
And we see Urias working that outside line as she is now only 13/10 of a second off from Tony Edwards, who's going to try his very best. Whoa, there's all kinds of looseness here behind Urias as it seems like there's a little bit of a cold tire bug messing with everybody. Josh Douglas here. Let's just take a look and see what happened with him real fast if we can. And we see Josh Douglas here in that number 8 Yeti Chevrolet. Just get it all kinds of sloppy and takes it into that barrier there on the inside.
Looks like right now we got a 3-car dance at the front of this piece. Edwards in the 118 started outside row number 1, and we've got another one. That's Brian Cloyd going for a ride off of 2. But Edwards started outside row number 1, currently showing the way. Urias in the X side, number 6, started 3rd in the race, currently sits in 2nd. And then you got J. David Rich, who's up 7 from where he started, currently sits in the number 3 spot as Urias throws it to the inside of Edwards, going through 1 and 2. She's going to try that slider line again. Edwards, though, with a head of steam, coming off of 2 as it's a drag race down the back straightaway here at Auto Club.
And this is the most exciting portion of the race here, as Urias is doing her very best to slide up there, and she's got the momentum as she is going to take it here on the low side, someplace that we really haven't seen her all night long, as she is desperately trying to get enough momentum to slide up in front of Tony Edwards here in his number 118 Jeg Chevrolet. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we're going to see Urias load up for bear and attack him every time we go into turn 1 and 2 for the rest of this piece here with 7 laps to go now.
Well, she tried it on the low side last time. She's trying it on the high side this time, as this top 3 is really stretching a lead out on the man who led quite a few of the laps of this race, the 29 of Robert Hissong, currently mired back and forth. Urias throws it to the inside through 3 and 4, does not have the momentum on corner exit, though, as Edwards going to maintain, and now here comes Rich to the inside of the 6.
Yeah, it looks like Urias lost a little bit of momentum there, as she might have just had to burp the throttle a hair to keep herself from getting all the way up into the wall, as now she's got to battle 2 cars to get back to P1, as we are 6 laps to go here in this 3-car battle for the lead at Auto Club Speedway. This is the Way She Goes Racing League in their 2nd race, and we've already got all kinds of excitement here at the front of this pack here in their inaugural season, as Emily Urias, going down on this low line again here into 3 and 4, tries to get her run over the 61 Ford of J. David Rich, and JD is hanging on to that top line as he's watched Emily work that top line all night long, as they are now single file, and we're going to start to see some creative action here, as now J. David Rich is going to go after the 118 of Tony Edwards and see if he can try the same move that Emily just did and see if he's got any success there.
Absolutely, as we are 5 laps to go currently. Edwards showing the way. Rich all over his back bumper right now as they hold it off into turn number 3. Urias about a car length and a half back off of Rich. Closing it in as Rich gets a little sideways in the middle of 3 and 4. That's going to let Urias get to his outside, and she's got the head of steam coming off of 4, going to rebound into 2nd. Now sets her sights on trying to reel in Tony Edwards with 4 to go.
And with 4 to go, Emily Urias there securing 2nd position rather comfortably. And I think we're going to see her run this top line here, as she is now drafting right up to Tony Edwards, as they are going to be neck and neck here going into the closing laps here of the Auto Club 200 on the Way She Goes Racing League on ESBN and SRM, brought to you by the Premier Setup Shop. And Emily Urias closing in on Tony Edwards here in that 118 Chevrolet, as she has now drafted as close as anybody has to him since we've gone back green, with now 3 to go here in Fontana, California.
Absolutely, 3 laps to go is correct. Tony Edwards continues to show the way in that Jegs Camaro 118. Urias, though, right there within striking distance. She looks to the inside going through 3 and 4. Not going to have the momentum. She is taking the shorter way around, but you can carry so much more speed as they come up very quickly on the lap car. That's Mike Cunningham in a very wounded number 44. Get by him cleanly. Go
I
ahead.
was starting to think that Emily was going to be able to use that lap car of Mike Cunningham as a pick, as now here with 2 laps to go, she's looking down and seeing if she can get the momentum. But remember, Tony Edwards is now being pushed by J. David Rich onto the backstretch. This is a drag race down the backstretch. Oh, and there's contact there with Emily Arias, who gets herself down to the apron and now rebounds up to the outside wall. As we are going to have a
We're
caution
going into
here,
overtime.
and we are going into NASCAR overtime, the green-white checker in the Way She Goes Racing League at Auto Club Speedway. Let's take a look here and see if we can't see exactly where she got herself a little out of shape here.
The only thing is, Rich had closed the door. There wasn't any room at the end. And Arias got nerfed, sent down the track, tried to save it, came back up the track, tagged the wall. So hopefully she still has her fast repair.
I'm not sure if she does. Something tells me that she had burned that earlier, but
Yeah, I think she may have.
that'll
Oh, yeah, she did for the first caution.
But that'll put Tony Edwards atop the leaderboard here, as we are going to be a green-white checker. And keep in mind, folks, the way the green-white checker works, following NASCAR and iRacing.com's rules, is we're going to take the green flag, and if there's anything that brings out a caution when they throw the green flag, we will go back to a yellow flag to the caution and try it all over again. If there's no caution or anything that brings out a caution when they throw the green flag, once they come around and complete that lap, they'll have the white flag. Then if anything happens that would normally bring out the caution, the field would freeze and we will finish under caution, but also with the checkered flag. So there's all kinds of colors and flags and things. So just hang on with Tony and I, and we'll get you through these last few laps here under caution at Auto Club Speedway. On the Way She Goes Racing League here during their inaugural season, the second race. And I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso, and we are thrilled to be bringing you this race tonight on ESBN. If you've tuned in, you have tuned in at the right time. Don't you think, Tony?
Oh, absolutely. Overtime is always fun, at least for us up here in the announce booth. Not so much if you're a driver out on track. But the thing to keep in mind, there is a little bit of left front damage on JD Rich's Monster Energy number 61 after that contact with Arias. So we don't know how bad that's going to hamper that Ford Mustang, as right now he's bookended by a couple of Chevy Camaros, with his song getting up into third, and G. Scott Thomas in the lone Nissan has a shot at a podium finish.
Yeah, this definitely shuffled the field up a little bit, as Robert Hissong, who's been toiling away back there in third, fourth, and fifth for a lot of this race here in the late stage here, has now gotten himself up here to podium status. As we're going to look here at your top 10 with Tony Edwards leading the field as the pace car lights are off. That means we will be going back green in NASCAR overtime, followed by J. David Rich in second position, G. Scott Thomas and Robert Hissong, Robert Devers in fifth, Clark Franz in sixth, Bobby Watts, Emily Arias, our longtime leader here, in eighth, Kevin Mitchell in ninth, Josh Douglas rounding out your top 10. And not only is that your top 10, but those are the 10 cars left on the lead lap here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. As Mike Cunningham is a couple laps down in the 44. Only a handful of cars still, actually only 11 cars still running in this thing. 12, as Andrew Ozuski, who did have some problems early on, he did get the wave around, as he's now trying to catch up to the tail end of the field. Still a few laps down, but the field working its way through the 3-4 complex for our first of 3 attempts at a green-white checker. Now, like my partner mentioned before, once the green flag comes out, the leader has to come down and cross the start-finish line to accept the white flag before all hell breaks loose
And that
for us
pace
to be
car
racing back to the checker.
That pace car has dived down pit road, and we are about to be underway green flag racing as Tony Edwards takes off like a shot and gets himself a nice, comfortable lead with 0.4 of a second between himself and Robert Hissong. Hissong trying to hold off J. David Rich here as Edwards dives down into turn 1 and 2. And Hissong doing his very best, working that inside line in the number 29 Chevrolet, sponsored by Bud Light. And quite frankly, I think that his sponsor should be darn pleased with his performance tonight as he has hung on to keep himself relevant. However, that 61 car of J. David Rich peeking to the inside. We're going to see some fireworks here as we're getting ready to come back around to the start-finish line and see the white flag wave as Hissong has now gone side by side, taking the lead here as they get the white flag. Hissong blocking Tony Edwards to not allow him to get around him.
And here comes G. Scott Thomas in that lone Nissan, go up into third as Edwards into the wall.
Oh my goodness! And that is
Jeepers.
and here we are on the final lap, and that will freeze the field, leaving.
No, it won't. We're racing back to the checkers,
we're
baby.
We're racing back to the checkers, and we're going to see Robert Hissong take that checkered flag after he comes out of turn 4 one more time here at the Auto Club 200 here for the Way She Goes Racing League, race number 2, followed by Tony Edwards, Clark Franz, Robert Devers, Bobby Watts, Josh Douglas, Emily Arias, Kevin Mitchell, J. David Rich, and G. Scott Thomas, your top 10.
What a finish we just saw. You got to feel for Thomas, though, as that kind of started with Rich getting a little sideways and getting down into him, and I mean that just it's heartbreaking for the Nissan fans here tonight. But Robert Hissong just doing yeoman's work to make that happen.
I think I had the freshest tires there at the end.
I was pushing way too hard. I was pushing way too hard.
We'll go up there.
Yes, sir. Well, still working on tire saving. It's my biggest weakness. I was hoping for some late cautions and ended up playing out good for me. I do a lot better on short run speed, and that crash in front of me there on the backstretch played out in my favor. I tried to fuel run early on, didn't quite work out for me because of the caution, but glad to be on the podium here.
Heck of a performance tonight, and we're just glad to see that you had gotten yourself onto the podium, especially so late in the race. As a few things happened that definitely worked in your favor, as Emily Urias had gotten herself kind of out of the way by accident. So is there anybody you would like to give a shout out to tonight?
Well, first off, I'd like to give a shout out to the league and all the drivers. It's growing pains here trying to get some of the stuff figured out. On top of that, mom, dad, wife, some friends watching. It means a lot. They're even watching me in my sim racing adventures. I appreciate the support.
Absolutely, man, and we are glad to have you. So we'll let you get back to it if you want to go back up to your Discord channel. And listen, congratulations, man. 3rd position. Way to go for race number 2 here in your inaugural season. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the great broadcasting.
And Tony, I believe you should have Josh Douglas, Tony Edwards, I mean, if I can find him here.
Tony is not here right now, but we do have the man of the hour, driver of the number 28 Bud Light Chevy Camaro. Congratulations on the victory here tonight at Auto Club, Robert Hissong.
Robert, you got a copy?
I think Dave just muted himself.
No, I didn't mute him. Hold on. Let's see if this works. There we go. Rob, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
We were already talking.
Scheme. My number's hard to see on the paint scheme because of the spec map. So it is the 29.
Right. But you led a ton of laps here tonight. We saw once you got into the dirty air, though, it seemed to be a little more difficult to make your way forward.
It really was. Once you get like 4th, 5th place on back, it's a little hard to pass. But late into the run, the car just wouldn't fall off. And there before that, I think it was when we started green flag pit stops, I was like, well, we still got a pit, so I was gonna play a little strategy and come down pit road and take tires and just enough gas to get to the end, and that it paid off. I was hoping it was gonna go green, but other than that, I practiced like at least 150, 200 laps through the week, and it really paid off.
Yeah, absolutely, and it showed that you knew what the car was going to do, especially later in the run. But talk us through the move for the lead. You just bombed it going into 1 on Tony, and used basically a dirt track slider line to get that lead away.
Yeah, that's what we call the good old slide job, and I had to run off 4, and if he was going to block, I was going to go way low with it so we couldn't side draft. That'll just slow me down in the process. The key was to clear him before 1 and just run the high line. Really, the high line has prevailed all night, and I was pretty dang good there towards the end of the run. So I knew what I had. I just needed a shot before that last caution come out. I was too far back. And Emily in the 6 spun out, hit the wall right in front of me, and I was like, oh no, because I pitted and forgot to uncheck my fast repair. And the pucker factor was really extensive when I seen the 6 car wreck going on the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was definitely a Code Brown moment. But you kept your wits about you. You came home with the victory here tonight. Who do you need to thank for helping you with this victory?
Well, I want to thank Kevin Kitzman and Natalie for getting everything situated, because it kind of got screwy after green flag pit stops and that caution came out and it screwed up the pit cycle. But other than that, I do want to thank Noah Owens for doing my paint scheme for this car. Absolutely awesome. Other than that, a win's a win, and we'll go on to Vegas, and hopefully I can do it again.
Absolutely. Now, what are your thoughts going into the 1.5 miles at Las Vegas next week?
I don't know at the moment because I've run very few laps there, especially in the A fixed. I haven't even run a race. I've just ran maybe 30, 40 practice laps, and It's gonna be a handful. My personal advice is just get laps on the track and get comfortable and know what your car can and can't do. Take what it'll give you and just learn what the track is doing at every moment.
All right, Rob. Again, congratulations on winning here at Auto Club. Looking forward to seeing what you can do at Vegas next week. Best of luck to you.
Looking forward to it.
Dave, if you want to go back down to the broadcast booth with me.
Absolutely. Let's take a walk down there. Well, it was quite a race tonight from start to finish, with only a little hiccup there in the middle due to some glitching. But I'll tell you what, overall, this was an incredible race from stem to stern. And I think that the Way She Goes Racing League should be proud of what they were able to produce tonight on track. And as we take a look at the results of what happened on track tonight, your top 10 with Robert Hissong in the number 29 Chevrolet, Tony Edwards in the number 118 Chevrolet, Clark France in the number 15 finishes third, Robert Devers finishes fourth, Bobby Watson fifth, up 12 spots. He and Devers both up equally 12 spots, as they seem to have followed one another into fourth and fifth. Josh Douglas in that number 8 Yeti Chevrolet finishes in sixth. Emily Urias finishes in seventh after she had such a great night where she was up front. Kevin Mitchell finishing eighth. J. David Rich in the number 61 Ford finishing ninth. And your top 10 rounds out with the number 79 Ford that's actually a Nissan, that's actually a Ford, of G. Scott Thomas, rounding out your top 10.
Mike Cunningham coming home in 11th. 12th goes to Andrew Ozuski. Brian Cloyd in 13th. 14th goes to Kevin Kitzman. Tony Straczynski in 15th. Natalie Cunningham in 16th. And Cohen Attard coming home in 17th position. But Dave, like we mentioned, we've got Vegas next week. And Vegas always turns into a fuel mileage race. So that's going to be fun to see how that one plays out.
Absolutely. And if this week was any indication, we know that they have drivers that are 100% capable of stretching their fuel and their tires to get around Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where we're headed next. And I believe that should be a 200-miler, if memory serves correct.
I believe so.
I'm personally excited to see exactly what happens in that race, which will be right here on ESBN, brought to you by the PremierRacingSetups.com setup shop, and our good friends over at LNC Auto Repair up in New York. And we can't thank you enough for joining us. And if you've stuck with us, we are glad to have you here. We thank you, Scott Franz, for the tip of the cap. And Tony, it's been a pleasure, of course, as always, sitting alongside of you here in the broadcast booth as we put another one in the books.
Absolutely. It's always a fun one. But that is going to about do it for us here tonight from Auto Club Speedway. For Mr. Dave Regal over in the production truck on the ones and twos, bringing you those beautiful camera angles all night long. This is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.